And we are talking about a few different things. Good morning, everybody. I'm Cheryl Casoni. 7 a.m. here on the East Coast. A lot of news to get to, a lot of breaking news breaking this morning. First off to this here in New York City, all New York City police officers are in uniform this morning. They are in preparation for what could transpire in downtown Manhattan after a Manhattan grand jury voted to indict former President Donald Trump for his role in what they're calling D.A. Bragg's hush money case. This is the Stormy Daniels payoff of $130,000. Now, Trump says in a statement, and this came out last night, Democrats have, quote, done the unthinkable, indicting a completely innocent person in an act of blatant election interference. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, who was handpicked and funded by George Soros, is a disgrace. I want to bring in New York Congresswoman and House Ways and Means Committee member Claudia Tenney. Congresswoman, good morning. A lot to get to. Obviously, we are on alert here in the city for any potential protests that may start today. We think we're going to see the former president on Tuesday. Your thoughts?
Yeah, this is, as I've said repeatedly for the last several weeks, this is malicious prosecution. It's an attempt to persecute President Trump and to really magnify what look to be potentially misdemeanors and probably not even really violations of law into felonies so that Alvin Bragg can have his moment in the sun to give the Democrats what they want, which is to see Donald Trump have to be fingerprinted and humiliated. And hopefully their intent is to get him out of the election. It's clear election interference. And I just refer your listeners and your viewers to go backward in time. You know, there was when Governor Ron DeSantis was a member of Congress, I joined with him and a number of others in drafting a criminal referral to then Jeff Sessions, who was the Attorney General, on various people who had violated crimes that seemed to be much worse than anything that Trump is being alleged. Hillary Clinton for mishandling classified information. James Comey for not prosecuting Hillary Clinton when he said he had information leading to prosecutions that he refused to investigate. Remember the famous Comey, Hillary's innocent, Hillary's guilty during that campaign of 2016. All of these things. And think about Hillary Clinton's case. Hillary Clinton actually paid, her lawyer paid through the DCCC, the Steele Perkins Coie law firm to create the Steele dossier to go after Donald Trump. Donald Trump and, you know, his alleged, if it were to be true, the claim with Stormy Daniels, the cover-up money, it was before he was even a candidate. And now to make that a stretch that it's somehow a campaign contribution, it's not. And so that would bring in the FEC charge under the Elections Commission. So, I mean, this is really a stretch, but this is what you're going to get with Democrats who are always about malicious prosecution, always trying to find somebody that they can attack. And I'll give you another perfect example. I have a former colleague from the State Assembly, Steve McLaughlin, who is now the Rensselaer County Executive in New York. Letitia James brought a criminal case against him, had witnesses on the stand lie, brought this malicious prosecution against Mr. McLaughlin, then and current county executive. 5 years of dragging him through the mud, and he was vindicated within 40 minutes. A jury came back with an acquittal. This is the kind of weaponization of our government and our use of taxpayer money that the Democrats seem to be, you know, excelling at. And Steve's case is an example of the state level, just like the case with Donald Trump. And remember, with this criminal referral with Ron DeSantis, then congressman, we referred Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Loretta Lynch for all their violations of so-called federal law, and it was never even looked at. And this federal court, the federal DOJ in New York City, passed over this case and said there's nothing here. Right. So why are we going and revisiting this case 7 years later?
Yeah, no, it has been 7 years, and you're right that there has been other passes in Manhattan for other things related to the former president. His CFO is in jail. Michael Cohen himself, if that's their star witness, you know, Michael Cohen has already gone to jail. You know, and even the Wall Street Journal in a commentary says this morning that the Trump indictment, far from open and shut case, and that its main weakness is factual, not legal. You can't prove what you're alleging. And that we had one expert say at the top of the last hour that he doesn't even think this is even going to get past, 20 minutes in a courtroom. I want to ask you about this, though, especially what's happening with New York, because President Trump is expected to surrender in Tuesday, we believe. This would be the first time that a U.S. president has been charged with a felony. Congresswoman, your thoughts on that, because it does seem that this is completely political and a political move by Alvin Bragg.
Yeah, it is political. And just think back to Trump's CFO and referring to his attorney in the past, who were jailed for what would normally be, and I did tax law. So if there was a problem with one of my clients, and one of my clients, for example, violated the safe harbor rule, the IRS would give you a notice and say, hey, look, you need to pay this. You failed to do this. Here's the fine. Here's the penalty potentially. Here's the tax that was due. And yet these things are being made into crimes. And meanwhile, on the streets of New York, we have this attorney, or this district attorney, Alvin Bragg, who refuses to actually prosecute violent criminals, and said it in his own words in a statement, which is why Lee Zeldin ran an entire campaign saying my first act, if elected governor, would be to fire the lawless Alvin Bragg. So we have this same situation playing out in New York. What's going to happen with President Trump? I think it's going to be about the Secret Service and the people that deal with his security. But, you know, they're putting Trump in a situation where he thrives. You know, if they really want to humiliate Trump, and I think that they all want a piece of their, he's going to be in the middle of this chaos. He's going to get more attention. He was already a TV star. He was a very successful president of the United States who brought tremendous policies that brought prosperity to our nation. And yes, you know, he was not an easy pill to swallow for some people, being a hardcore Queens guy. But in the end, what he did for the United States is unprecedented. He turned us around in 4 years. And just to see how dramatic it is, look what Joe Biden has done in 2 years. He's nearly destroyed this country. He's put us in complete disarray, economic disaster. We're weak in our projection across the world with our enemies. China's overtaking us. We've got, you know, war raging in Europe, much like World War II burgeoning there. We've got problems in the Middle East, and where's Joe Biden? You know, and then we've got New York City, insane. You know, New York City is where you can indict anybody you want. That's the old expression, you can indict a ham sandwich.
Congresswoman, I live here. I could go on forever about the problems in New York City, and we don't have that kind of time. Claudia Tenney, Congresswoman, thank you very much for being here.